Remember this? This was your assignment in isometric. And the reason I'm bringing this out right now is just to demonstrate that pretty much when we do this in perspective, it's the same idea. And you have to start off with understanding your objects, how big they are, and their positions in plan. And you base it all on a grid. So creating this grid is going to be really key for when we create our items in perspective. It's just that we use a perspective grid, not an isometric grid. The other thing is having a good sense with a thumbnail what those objects will look like. So in fact, I was working out a little design for our next exercise, and that is how we're going to arrange a pyramid, a cone, a cylinder, and I think I'm going to throw in an octagonal prism in here, and you can see I'm just working out the plan, and I'm composing it now. But if you can see in the background, I have a perspective grid, and this is how it works. And again, we start off with a square. So freehand, I'll do this, and then we'll do it, we'll draft these. So let's just start off with a square, and I'm actually going to deem this to be 8 and 8 as in 8 feet high, to give you a sense of proportion, to give you a sense of scale. So in other words, if I put an X through this, we have ourselves, we've broken down that grid into 4 foot. There's a 4 foot measure. And if I break that down even more, we're deriving a grid broken into 2 foot increments, which is pretty handy for us because if our modules are based on 2, that works out very nicely. Now, the idea of this though, here is a 6 foot measure, here's a 4 foot measure, so on and so forth. Our eye level, depending on, you may even want to measure your own eye level, is typically at about 5 feet. So just keep that in mind. I'm just going to draw a little scale figure here. And the reason why scale figures are important is because it gives you a sense of how high things actually are. Okay, and the other thing that is key about this is eye level. Because it's at your eye level, maybe here, a little eyeball here, that our horizon, or pardon me, our vanishing point lives. So let's just put a little vanishing point somewhere. And in this case, I'm going to put it right about here. And I've measured up 5. So here's 2, 4, and not 6, but 5 in the middle there. Now what I'm going to do is from each of these points that we've measured off, I'm going to take my vanishing point and run a line through each of those points like that. And that's my poor little puppy. He just he ate too fast. He's going to be just fine, right, Louis? And we can do this side, but I'm only interested in the floor plane here. Now remember with the cube, when we were drawing a cube and we had our vanishing point here, we said, okay, how deep is that cube? And we had to make an assessment as to how deep that cube was. It's the same thing now here, but for the floor plane. And we want to make our best guess ever as to how deep that will be. Here's the deal, is that you can, when you're assessing this, you can never be too short. I mean, that we could still get away with making it feel like this was a square. But we will always, we can always go wrong if we think that that plane is a square. So we can always make it too long, and that is too long to be, and we want to create an 8 foot square in here. So I'm going to take it back to about here and deem this is that one judgment bit here that you need in creating perspective grids. I'm going to deem that to be my 8 foot depth right here, like so. And what I can do now is I want to create a grid on this floor, so I end up drawing a diagonal line, and every time that diagonal line hit my 2 foot vertical measures, I simply draw a horizontal line across, and now you have a grid within which to place your objects. So you need to know in plan where those objects sit. So I'm now making a plan of that floor, of this floor, and we said it was 8 feet out from the back. Here's our back wall right here. This is now 4 feet. This is now 2 feet. This is now 2 feet. And I now have nicely broken up my grid, my floor. Oops, not quite. There. I now have 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, so 8 by 8. Now I can place my objects in. So I'm looking at my original little thumbnail that I made, and I'm going to put a pyramid in the back there. So this will be my pyramid in the back. And I'm giving these new heights as well, so stay tuned for the new heights. Right here in the middle, I'm going to put my 2 by 2 cube. So it's going to sit in the middle here. I'm actually going to put it 1 unit away, so I had to split up that grid. So it's going to go there. And I'm going to place my cylinder in this corner, I've decided. So here's where my cylinder is going to sit. I'm going to draw carefully a circle in plan. And now for my octagonal pyramid. And for my octagonal pyramid, I need to draw a prism, my octagonal prism. I need to put a circle in here. And I need to create some diagonals because I'm drawing this in freehand. And then I just need to connect where those diagonals hit the surface of that circle. That is how I'm going to create my octagon in plan. And it's important that you see how to do it in plan, because whatever we do in plan, we also do in perspective.